welcome to another episode of the Goalpost. And today's episode, I am joined by Erin Herz. How are you, Erin?
I'm well, thank you, and you?
I know I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Hey, yeah, it's been a while since you and I
Yeah,
have had a conversation about football. You know, we normally do talk. We have our
always,
debates.
always, always.
yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
talk
yeah,
is the way to put it. I think debate
yeah.
describes it well.
Yeah, but it's just friendly banter. I mean,
Of course.
that's how it is. That's how we roll. Yeah, yeah. So, Aaron, I'm just In of course in today's episode, since you're new to the channel and everything, I just I'm just gonna ask you just general questions about specifically women's football. I won't lie to you. I'm not a person who is I don't really know it to like a large extent. I do
It's
watch
okay.
international games, specifically Banyana Banyana, because I think they're the pride of South
Mhm.
African football.
At
But
least you can
yeah,
know with me.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, Aaron, so with regards to you being a footballer, do you consider yourself a professional?
I have to say yes, on the basis
Yeah.
that if I don't believe it, then it's not gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
it's take like dictionary definition, probably no.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
probably be semi-professional, but
Yeah.
I have to I have to believe it for it to be true. And if I don't say
Yeah.
it now, then I don't think I'm capable of it, and then it's less likely to happen. So I'm going to say yes, I am a professional
Oh,
football player.
oh yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. And of course, you saying you're a professional football player. I do know that you play for the JVW, which is
yes,
Janine Van Veek's team.
yes.
How is it? How's your time playing in the Hollywoodbets League? Is it? Are you enjoying your time?
Uh, I am loving it. It's very intense, very
Yeah.
high pressure, very. It's just a quality level I've never played in before. Um,
Yeah.
Also, the club is the reason I have to say I'm professional because they treat us very professionally. It's a very professional setup. The league is getting there professional wise.
Yeah.
Sometimes we arrive and the refs aren't there, and I thought that was a junior level thing or an amateur level
Yeah.
thing, but it happened to us the other day, so it happens everywhere,
Yeah.
maybe except the PSL. But anyway, um,
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there. So yeah, it's very it's thrilling. Let me say that, and it's exciting, and it puts me to my it
Yeah.
challenges me.
Oh no, that's cool. Hey, that's cool. As long as it does challenge you. And then I see your team is third on the log, behind TUT and Mamelodi
Sundowns.
Sundowns. Hey, it seems as if Sundowns are
Oh
like
my God.
very
They've
powerful
run
in this
away. They've
league.
run away. They've got games in
Yes.
hand and they're already far ahead of us. So yeah, we've let them go and now we're pushing for
Yeah.
second.
Oh yes, 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 yes. And then of
Yeah.
course, if you is the league a knockout league? Like, I mean, sorry, does it do you reach a point where maybe the top four teams play against one another to see who wins,
No.
or
So
is it?
number one will
Is it?
win. One will win, two we second.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh
Premier League,
yes.
it ends how it ends, yeah.
All
And there's
right.
no
All right.
relegation yet. We're just trying to get numbers in the league and then I think there'll be relegation next season.
Oh yes. And it's so good that at least now there's
Yes.
serious sponsors that are sponsoring women's football, because I think Brentford are sponsored by
Also
Hollywood
qualified,
Bets
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yep, they are, which is exciting to see. There's also a CAF Women's Champions League, which
Oh,
Sundowns are now going to compete in. So it's nice that there's just things to look forward to. Winning doesn't just mean there was a time when winning the league just meant winning the league and just being the best team in the country. Now you can push to be the best team in the continent, or at least compete to be the best team in the continent. So yeah,
yeah.
very exciting.
And then on your end, like, where do you like? in an ideal world, like what goals like do you have for yourself? I know for a fact that of course you're playing for Janine van Beek's team right now, but I mean there are, like, when you look at Timbi, Khatlana, and Jane, these are players that are playing at the highest level in world football. Like, do you also see yourself playing there like one day?
I'd love to. I'd love to. And much like what I said in the beginning, I have to say it. I have to say that
Yeah.
I will, that I see myself there for me to achieve it. So yes, I do. I'd love to play fully professional football. I'd love to wake up and be a football player and play amongst the greats and compete for the best trophies and yeah, win the big things.
Yeah, no,
I'd
of
love
course.
to.
I mean, and I do believe that you will reach that level. It's just that you never invite me to your games. Like
There's a
I've
pandemic.
always I forgot. Like, but
We
hopefully
love our
some,
fans.
and
We
that's
sneak
and that.
fans in, but no one said that.
But you know what sucks is that like even pre-COVID, like I was always, like asking, like, I'd love to see you play and do your thing,
Hello.
and just be there. Go, Erin, just for
I will
moral
make it
support.
happen. I will make it happen
Yeah.
in the coming future.
Yeah, and I heard that Safa are, like, they're trying to bring back the fans into stadiums. Yeah, I think they were pushing for 2,000 supporters. Yeah, per game. So hopefully on Thursday. Yeah, hopefully it could happen. Yeah. And then with regards to the refs in women's football, like I've heard you a lot of times complain about them. Like, what's happening with the refereeing there? Is it as worse as the men's league? Because I also think with us, men's as well, men's league is also not 100% as far as refereeing is concerned.
It's not even 30% as far as
Wow.
refereeing. Not being harsh. There's just
Yeah.
things I've experienced that are just it once again, as I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
things that happen that make it feel like you're still amateur, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
I can't try and be a professional player if the surroundings are not at that standard. There are calls that are made that just indicate that the people making the calls don't know the rule. And you can't not know the rule. You have to know what you're blowing for. You have to know what offsides looks like. You have to know when it's. And it just. Sometimes it genuinely looks like people don't know the rules.
Wow.
There was a time, it happened this week. It happened to us and then it happened against us, where someone shot. And the player is if they're onside when the ball is struck by their teammate.
Yeah.
And then the keeper saves it and like parries it into their path, they're still onside, even if they were onside when the keeper touched it. But that was blown offside against us at Wits twice in one game.
Wow.
And then it happened to the team that we were playing against in the final. So I just felt like a bit of justice. Anyway. But we also don't have the privilege. Like, now I appreciate the VAR rule where they keep the flag down and wait so that it can be reviewed. Because if those ones could be reviewed, things would be so different. Because that's not offside. So my thing is, as I said earlier, with the professional, it just feels amateur if the decisions being made or the calls being made are amateur as well. But it also takes away from enjoying the game. You just can't have fun. Now, all I'm focused on is the fact that the people that are supposed to control this game don't know how to. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because we do our bit and no one else does. Anyway, that's me. I don't. No further comment.
I know it's okay. It's okay. I understand. I totally understand. I mean, we also do experience such calls, especially dubious calls. And what sucks is that there's nothing that you can really do about it. I mean, the ref's decision is final. You can go, you can
And
shout
that's
at
the thing.
them. Yeah.
And they have the authority, so no matter how many times I shout at them, they the ones who still control the game. I was shouting at the ref the other day, and she just said to me, "Don't speak to me like that." And I'm like, "But what must I do then? Nothing would work. I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. I'll get a card if I shout at you. I'll get a card if I take someone out, and because you're not controlling the game." Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I can imagine, did this happen in the 4-0 loss to UWC?
yes.
Whoa. Hey,
The first goal they scored was offsides.
like
There were two passes, and they were both offsides.
Oh.
The cross came in, the player was offside. The player that received the ball passed to the goal scorer was offside. And now I must continue with this game knowing that the linesman doesn't know what offsides is. How?
Yeah.
And it's not even just a bad call. It's you can see a lack of understanding or a lack of awareness because it repeats. And
yeah.
I have a referee's license and I refuse to use it because I have bad karma coming for me if I ever referee.
I know, man. I know. I do apologize for your experience, man. Like that shouldn't be happening. Hey, that really shouldn't be happening. I mean, it is. It does demoralize you as a player when such calls happen against you. Yeah, yeah. And then as far as the pay is concerned, you know, it's like I'll use the US national team as an example. I mean, you look at the men, you look at the women's team as compared to the men's. The women's team like is filled with superstars. I wouldn't even just say they stars, but they are like superstars, and they constantly. It's either they're gonna reach like the latter stages of any tournament, or they're gonna win it. Yeah, at least, or they're gonna win it. They're always favorites. Whereas the men's, I'd say there is a huge improvement in men's football because there's a lot of players playing in Europe now, like your Christian Pulisic. You know, who's this guy? Who's from West? The guy from Juve. I'm not sure if you know him. Yeah.
And Dest from Barcelona.
Yeah, and Dest. You see, so at least now they've got quite a few players playing in major leagues, but still, from a national team standpoint, like, what's your take as far as pay is concerned? Because women's football in SA is doing way better than the men's at the moment.
Way better, if we're fair.
Yeah.
It's very contentious. It has a lot of factors. I understand both sides in a way. I understand that like it's not viewed, the viewership is low, so how do you expect sponsors to come through? But then I also, on as a player, like I get the economics, return on investment. It's not there. But I'm very much for the like humanistic side of it. Like these are players still. They're still people. They're still playing football. They're doing almost exactly the same thing as the men are doing. If it was, for example, tennis, where they don't play the same amount of game, I can understand the argument. If the men play 5 sets, the women play 3, you're not doing the same thing. We play 90 minutes, the field is the same size, the goal's the same size, the balls that we're doing, the identical thing the men are doing. There's, at some point you need to step away from the economics and the business side of it and just invest for the love of the game, if that makes sense. Because we're all here for the love of the game. We all love playing football. We all want to play football. We all want it to be the only thing we have to do. So I am all for equal pay because we just, I don't even know how to put it further. We want to do this thing because we love it. We all love it. So at some point I'm just over the business, the economics, as I say. I just want us to acknowledge that the game is being played. It doesn't matter who's playing it, it's being played. And we all want to just play it and love it and yeah.
No, I get where you come from. Yes, you did mention economics because that's one of the things that even when I was speaking to a mate of mine, we had a conversation about this, especially when you look at Banyana,
Mm,
with the little that they have, they are overachieving, in my opinion. They've got players playing in top leagues
mhm,
in Europe,
mhm,
whereas the men, uh,
mm.
for the last since 2000, I'd say that the decline in our football began from like 2005 going onwards.
Mm,
It's
mm,
just been a downhill trend, and these
mm.
players still get paid a lot,
Of
whereas
course,
our women's football is not even given, not even a third of what these men are
not
receiving.
even
And
slightly.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it also, the players wouldn't need to. Obviously, you want to reach the heights that are out there, but
Yeah,
if there was more for us to reach here, they wouldn't be in such a rush to go. If playing for the national team could um fulfill your financial needs, then you could play here, maybe not for less, but just play here in a setting that's not as extravagant and not as, but you are contributing to the growth of women's football in South Africa. But because there's nothing here, players need to go elsewhere. And it's great. We want to extend or broaden our horizons. But we also want the game here to grow. And it sucks. Like imagine the Hollywoodbets Super League with Tembi and Fifi.
yeah.
It would be wild. We'd have fans every weekend. People would pay to watch that. But no, we watch them. Obviously, it's fantastic to watch them play for the Madrids of the world. But yeah, it would be cool to just see it worthwhile here as well.
Yeah, I know. I do get where you're coming from. Hey, okay. Right now, I just wanted us to shift to questions related to you in particular. So let me just quickly share my screen. Please bear with me.
No problem at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. So this is a picture of you, right? Oh
Yes,
no,
it is.
what's happening?
Oh no.
Uh, it's wow. This is horrible. But anyway, let me just stop sharing my screen. Yeah,
That
technical
wasn't for
issue.
me.
No, it's not true. It's not true. This is the first time this ever happens, but it's okay.
Okay, okay.
It's so it's so I s- you, so I was basically showing a number. I see you
Mm-hmm.
were number 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
What made you choose that number? What inspired you to choose that number?
There are two inspirations to the story. My
Yeah.
all-time favorite player is Thierry Henry. My mom is an Arsenal fan, so the
Wow.
first football I watched was Arsenal, and it was at the time when Thierry Henry was still there, and I was taken aback. I barely even knew
Yeah.
what football was and how it was supposed to be played, and how differently it could be played to how I was still learning. But I knew that this person played this game and did it exceptionally. So yeah, he's my hero. And then I
Wow.
had my first coach. Yeah, I know probably not what you expected,
Yeah.
but I played for a team. It was the first team I ever played for. It was called Girl Sport, and it was just almost like a training clinic. There wasn't even really, don't know of any leagues we were in. I was very young, so they organized a game against a team. I don't know where they were from, but they traveled. It was in 2010. We did a whole tour of Soccer City. It was very cool. But we played a game, and it was the first time we ever had jerseys on our back, or numbers on our jerseys on our back.
Yeah.
And just before we went to get numbers, my coach grabbed me and she said, "Take 14 because it's my number." And I was like, "Okay, sure, if you insist." So
Yeah.
I was sort of like she had me under her wing and she wanted me to share her number with her. So that was the inspiration for the number. And then when I
Oh,
found out my favorite player word, it was just
yeah.
written in the stars.
Wow. No, no. You learn. This is the first time hearing that. I thought you were gonna say Shabby Alonso from Liverpool. Because you wore number 14 as
Yeah,
well.
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't even a Liverpool fan by that point. I
Oh,
think I became a Liverpool fan at a later stage. I didn't watch football initially when I first started playing. I just knew I wanted to play. Started watching
oh,
quite a while after I started playing. So yeah.
oh, yes, 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 yes. And then you play left back, right? Left back and center
Right.
back, right?
I play
Oh,
either left or right.
oh, so you like who's this João Cancelo essentially because he can play,
Basically.
yeah.
Basically.
Anyway, and like I just wanted to ask you, which player do you normally like watch whenever? Like, of course, I mean, we all draw inspiration
Yeah.
whenever we do something. Like, from a footballing standpoint, which footballer do you normally study? And try to replicate their style.
Originally it was Danny Alves when I first became a fullback. Because
Quality.
he's just the peak
Yeah.
of what it means to be a fullback. Um, and then in the modern game, obviously I love Trent, but our style of play doesn't push our fullbacks up as high. I one day I'll cross the ball like him, one day, but I don't right now. So can't. It's
Yeah.
tough to really watch. To be very honest, it's tough to watch men and try and do what they do because they do it
Oh, yeah.
like with point accuracy, and it's almost too intense to put myself under that pressure. But to just draw inspiration, definitely Danny Alves. I would love to be the type of player that the sort of mentality I have is like a Robertson mentality. I just want to get the ball and I just want to stop you from getting the ball. But he's just left footed and it's hard to do what he does on a right, like being left footed, left sided with a right foot. So
Yeah.
as well, we'll work on those crosses. We'll get there one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But there are also women that I watch. There's one, she plays for the United States national team and her name's Crystal Dunn. She's very
Oh,
good.
yes.
She's also got that feisty, like Robertson breakdown play.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I like to watch her for realistic expectations to put on myself.
Yeah, see. No, but I mean, for me, I think, especially when I watch the US women's team, those ladies are very good. They're very technical.
No, they really are. They really
Yeah,
are.
they have the fundamentals of football on lock. And I mean, if
Hmm.
you have that on lock, you will,
Yeah.
go places.
And
And
tactically, they've
yeah,
got it all organized. Tactically, they've
true.
organized their team so well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then with regards to the Premier League, um, I'm not sure if you watched the game on Saturday, on
Yes,
Sunday rather, between
yes, of
Liverpool
course I
and
did.
Man City.
What a game.
Uh, what a game indeed, man! Like what a game indeed. Like,
That's what the Premier League is about.
yeah,
That's what it should be
yeah,
about.
yeah. It really is. It should be about that. And I see your team. I mean, they in the first half they were a bit shaky, but then they turned things around. Like, what's your take on your team this season? Do you think you guys are gonna win the league?
We stand a chance, is what I'm going to say. We stand a chance.
Yeah.
I don't want to be caught on camera saying that, and then I don't know what happens. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season. We never know what's going to happen. That's all I've learned supporting Liverpool. You never know what's going to happen. So we stand a chance. Initially, I didn't think we necessarily did. I thought I am still very concerned about our transfers.
Yeah.
Evidently, very evidently, we need a right fullback urgently.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, even when we made the sub, it didn't even help. Taking James Milner off didn't even help. Still conceded that side.
Yeah.
So, well, off of that side, I guess it started that side. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I'm weary about. Just depth and ability to get through the season because the season is long. Very,
Yeah, it
very,
is.
very. And a lot can happen. If I learned anything last season, so much can happen. And we stand a chance. That's what the beginning of the season has shown me. We've played some good teams. We were very lucky to get a draw out of Chelsea.
Yeah,
Circumstances allowed it, so we take it and we win.
yeah,
So I think yes, we stand a chance.
yeah. No, true. I do believe your team. You see, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. Those three teams. The
I'm so
only
glad you listed three teams. I thought there was going to be a
yeah.
fourth one.
I'll never list my team, Man United, until we get a proper manager. You see, the three
There we
teams I've
go.
just named have managers, and football is a
I know
system
what they
game.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell people that it's a system game, and it's up to the manager to implement the style of play. Jurgen Klopp's players aren't as good as Man City players on paper. If we can be honest, there's a few guys like Virgil, I mean Robertson, Trent, but
Salah.
like from you see Salah, but like when you look on paper, you look at Liverpool squad and you look at City squad. City have more talent, yet you guys can still match
Two
them.
starting 11s even.
You see, and you guys can still match them, and that's all because of Jurgen Klopp and how he set up your team. Even without Trent, you guys were still you were good
Grind out.
enough to
Yeah. And we were
yeah,
leading.
yeah, you
That's what
were.
frustrated me the most about the game is that we were ahead. But
Yeah.
also, what you're saying about Jurgen Klopp is he also sells it to the players and they buy into it. It's a
Hmm.
mutual commitment to this style and this attitude and this desire to be the best. It's not
Yeah.
like there's I don't feel like anyone doesn't believe it or anyone doesn't believe they should be there or doesn't understand their role or I just feel like they're a unit and he's made them that,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah. No, that's
appreciate.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last question, last but not least, it has to do with my team. What
Yes. What can I say about your team?
yeah, where do you think we are going wrong as Man United? I just want to hear from a Liverpool fan's perspective.
I think I don't know really. I really thought Ronaldo was going to be it. Like I don't know if you remember Thomas Tuchel said we needed someone to just finish those nil-nils or just get that goal. I thought he was going to be it. Every time it was a tough because in the Premier League you can play the bottom of the log and you can it's still the 80th minute and there isn't a goal and where's it coming from? I thought he was going to be that player, and it's not turning out to be that way. But I just think the personalities are a bit too much or too many or too different. They all have their own way, and I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the person to make them make it work, make them make it make sense. So either he needs to change, and if he does change, someone needs to come in that can handle that. And I don't know who in world football can handle those people. There are big, big, big names in that team, and I don't know who can do that kind of like mental work. But I think they also need to do it as players. They also need to come to the party and say we are big personalities, but it doesn't mean everything instantly works. Chelsea have had, like, why do I keep going to Chelsea? But Chelsea have had a really high quality or high big name squad for a long time, and there were times when it didn't work. And now they all know what it's like to make it work. So I think the players also need to acknowledge that they have a role to play as much as the manager needs to be a completely different manager. But they also have to come to the party. And it's sometimes I feel like United players have also always relied on the fact that they are who they are rather than being one. Like, as I say with Liverpool, they all know their role. And Klopp has also taken their strengths and put them in their role based on their strengths so that everyone works together. Like Firmino coming back, fetching the ball, letting the wingers go forward. It all it's based on what you can do. So I think they all need to look at themselves, look at what they can do, look at what their players around them can do, and do it together, rather than just say, "Well, I'm Cristiano Ronaldo. I bang goals. Give me the ball."
Mhm.
It's not going to work like that every single time. So at some
Yeah.
point, you have to. There was also a time in United's career, it was a few years ago, where they looked like they didn't train. They looked like they don't practice. So I think that part comes with the manager. There needs to be some kind of unity and just working togetherness, if that even makes sense. That they've got to figure out how to make each other's strengths work instead of just saying we have strengths, obviously we're going to be good. It is obvious, but it's only going to work if you make it work. That's my comment.
Yeah,
I
no,
hope.
that's I like your comment. It's more it's less vulgar than mine because whenever I say mine, there's a lot of f bombs that I drop. But you hit the nail on the head when you speak of the cohesion of the team.
Yeah.
There really isn't any in our team. We have the personnel, we
Hmm.
just don't have the managers. I like using Lewis Hamilton and who's this guy? Valtteri Bottas from
Yeah.
Mercedes. I like using that comparison because Lewis is basically using the car to
Yeah.
its full potential, whereas Bottas isn't. And Ole is pretty much Bottas in my opinion.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think there's
yeah,
also a
yeah, yeah.
kind of deficit between the the best players and the squad fillers, which isn't really
Yeah.
working. Like the best players, obviously Cristiano Ronaldo, one of two best in the world, and then in a starting 11, there's like the it's harsh to say lowest, or the maybe be Fred. It's just a
Hmm.
very big gap. Like when you play a fantasy team, you just buy players so they can sit on the bench, and they're cheap, and you spend your money.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a team like United. You can't just have players because you need to have 11 players on the field. I think they all need to be of a certain standard. That's another thing. So I think, but you're getting back to your standard. There was a time when you just brought people in because you needed people in,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
fantasy
no,
team.
that's true.
Getting back to that. That's not a thing anymore. So hopefully it will improve. Well, not hopefully. I don't want it to improve, but
Yeah.
I
All
have no
right.
interest.
No.
I'm happy with United where they are right now.
Uh, all right, no worries, no worries. Yeah, Erin, thank you so much for availing yourself. Hey,
Thank you for
uh,
having me.
yeah, no, thank you so much. I've always wanted to have you on the show. It's just that I wanted to first get the hang of this YouTube thing that I'm doing right now and just build some confidence. And now at least I managed to have you on the show, and you're actually the first female to be on the show. So shout outs to you, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on the show and I'm honored to hold that title. And I'm
Yeah,
I'm glad Liverpool played well when you asked me to come onto the show.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So
thank you for holding out for that.
yeah, so next time when it's United versus Liverpool, I'm gonna have you and another Liverpool supporter, and then we'll just have a discussion as to
It needs to be at Liverpool, please.
yeah,
At
yeah,
Anfield.
at Anfield,
And we
yeah.
can have a good conversation, a great conversation. In fact. Thank you
All
so
right,
much for
no,
having me. I thoroughly enjoyed being here. And I loved your questions and answering them.
yeah,
And thank you for getting my mind rolling.
I know it's a pleasure. Hey, yeah.
Thank you
So
so much.
guys, yeah, dude, it's a pleasure. Hey, so guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and help us with the algorithm. This is the goalpost, and we
Thank
out.
you.
Peace.